hurricane, a tidal wave. Essence perfect, life looks brilliant. Give me more of this. I'm out of control, about to blow, and I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You bury me, bury me. Yeah, you bury me, bury me. You've got me hypnotized. Push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. I can see, I can hear, going crazy, but the light has got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. And there you are at my hand again. Is it wrong? Is it right? It's like I've won my final war without a fight. I'm out of control, about to blow, and I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You bury me, bury me. I know you bury me, bury me. You've got me hypnotized. Push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. I can see, I can hear, going crazy, but the light has got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. Get you out of my head. Get you out of my head.
Please note.
Never gonna stop, never gonna change, never gonna do the things you say. I run my own way to get there. Pulls a coin that I don't seem to care. In the air, no more crowd, just the opposite kind of few clouds. So tell me this time is coming for the sake of all your lies. Why don't you try to be wise? Now that I need you, why? Just to feel like I'm fading. And though my heart breaks a beat of time, I've crossed the lines just to tell you. Don't lead the way, don't even say that I try with a child playing the rain. I feel like I'm fading. I am in misery.
Everyone is watching me when I'm coming around. They all are judging me when I'm lying on the ground. I've got no shelter, I've got no escape. My life is a prison and I can't run away. I feel it in my bones, I'm losing it all. Stuck in my head, I am in misery. Deep inside myself, all I get, my only family. Stuck in the grave, can someone rescue me? I'm burning alive, I got it, I am in
Hello and welcome everybody to a new episode of Taking Over. Here with myself, the Natural Astrid, and my guest for today, Kimi, who just froze on me. Kimi, how are you, Kimi?
I did. Oh, I hate this computer. I'm doing wonderful. I actually decided to watch NXT today. What a miracle. And you know what? I tuned in and Chase, you died. So maybe I am bad luck. Maybe I shouldn't watch NXT anymore.
Well, for those of you that don't know, as you see him in the comments, it is out for the night, so I had to get a special guest for today. So there's no hater today. There's more positivity today, hopefully, with Kimi here. And it's not on our rambles taking over, so it feels weird to say.
Well, yeah, I mean, we have to be positive. The champ showed up on this show that's already better than Ring of Honor. We had matches that actually made sense with storylines, even better. Maybe I should just maybe, take back what I said before. Maybe I should just watch Tuesdays, not watch Ring of Honor. But, we got our announcement for Final Battle at Hammerstein. So maybe it's a win-win for everybody.
The scoopster got her scoop confirmed. That's what it was.
It's like me and Tony Khan are besties.
Mm-hmm. I'm watching you, ma'am. I'm watching you.
He has no idea who I am. Like, okay, I lied. He knows who I am, but I don't think he
Mm-hmm.
realizes that, like, the kid in the media room is the same kid that worked with all his talent on the convention scene. He knows the convention
That makes
gimmick,
sense.
but he
Yeah, that
doesn't
makes more
know.
sense.
Yeah, he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't know
I
Ring of
believe that.
Honor yelling Kimmy. One day, maybe this weekend he will when I see him, and I'm like, "Sir, why did it take so long?"
Yeah, I cannot. I will not begin to get in the mindset of that man compared to this man that I'm squishing right in the middle. I just realized our fingers is too big. We can't see the chef here. I don't know how to fix it. Either way, we'll get right onto it right from the beginning here. Um, we start with the qualifier. I don't know why I have my notes all over the place here. The qualifier, which is Nathan Frazer versus Eddy Thorpe. This is one of those matches that I was, why are these two going against each other? Is this not, it doesn't help me at all. I do like the fact that on his way to the ring, as Nathan's going on the way to the ring with Axiom beside him, we do get a couple of like teams here and there on his way out, and he's like, he didn't doesn't realize, it's almost like he's being, I don't want to say chased, but like they're obviously like putting a target on them. Yeah, hold on, let me see if I can find the picture of your lovely sir that we have. There we go. There we go. Yeah. Squeak. There you go. I'll give you a couple of seconds. Um, so I do like the fact that we do have the teams, like Ava told them to like be like step up, and you see them like, oh, like you see Gallus and you see OTM, as we call it, TNT. There we go. Our timing for the squeak happened. um, and we get the tag teams all looking around, and later on in the match, we do get Hank and Tank that are there as well. I think OTM was in what we call the Eagle's Nest, so it's up there as we like to see. STG, where's Ed? I'll let Ed talk about it in the comments if he would like to say, but he has a night off, which doesn't happen usually. So we'll see what happens today with Kimmy and myself in here.
Chaos.
Thank you, Corey. The tag team division was watching them like that. Yes. Um, I don't say there's not much that really stands out in the match, but I was gonna say when that Phoenix Splash landed on Eddy, that knee landed on Eddy's face in such a way that it scared the crap out of me, to be honest. I was really scared there for a moment. We do have the teams like brawling outside as this is all happening, and Nathan's able to still get the win. This is one of those times that I get why, just because of the situation that we're getting so far with Eddy and Ava. Every time he goes to her, he gets interrupted. But I would have liked for Eddy to win this actually, just because of the fact that obviously Nathan's already a champion, and everything with Eddy has been like nothing is fizzled out in NXT so far. So I've been wanting more for him in that aspect. But so far we got NXT Champion Nathan, that's also part of Iron Survival, along with Javon Evans and Wesley. So it's very bouncy so far. How was that match for you, Kimmy?
So you gotta remember, I don't watch NXT every week. I basically go off clips. So I saw the ending last week when Ava was in the meeting, and Ava's like, "Oh my god, like we need tag teams and motivation." But this was a little too much for me, especially because they build up the Iron Survivor so much since this is the third one that they're doing, and they showed the vignettes throughout the night of the previous matches and how it's the most exciting. We've heard this 20 times, the most exciting 25 minutes in all of
Yes.
all year. Like,
Yes.
don't need to put your tag team division in like such a serious match like this if you're really trying to build it.
Mhm.
So I hated it. I thought it was dumb. And your tag team champs aren't going to wrestle on the show now because, as we found out later on, Ethan Page is facing Axiom in a qualifying match. So
Mhm.
is Axiom and Nathan gonna wrestle each other in the Iron Survivor? Is Ethan gonna get the win? So yeah,
Mhm.
I'm not, Ring of Honor brain. I'm not really a big fan of Champ not being on pay-per-views. So
Yeah, I figure we'll bring it up that part that you mentioned, because later on in the night, after Nathan wins, it's with Axiom, and there's a whole video package for Ethan being part of the Iron Survivor because he's part of the qualifying matches. And then Nathan goes, "Well, it's gonna be hard if Ethan gets in there." And then Axiom's like, basically, who says he's gonna get in there? And he's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Well, I'm facing him." He goes, "Wait, weren't you mad at me for being part of the match and now you're on it?" He's like, "Well, I thought about it. It's like you were right, so I decided to go to Ava and get myself a match. So it's Ethan versus Axiom." And then he goes, "Well, amigo, what happens if you qualify?" He goes, "Well, we'll face each other at deadline."
These two are like an old married couple, and I love it. It makes for some of the most entertaining promos that you see throughout the week on WWE
Yeah.
programming. And I think, when they eventually break up, which I think is relatively going to be soon with the way things are happening, like it's going to be really upsetting. But yeah, there's so many other people on the roster that could have been like in this position.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, why put your tag team division here when you just did that whole segment last week? You wanted to fire up the tag team division,
Mm-hmm.
yet one half of them is in this Iron Survivor match. It could wrestle potentially for the NXT main title at a date
Yeah.
later on.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping. And even though I understand the part of Eddie's storyline, that's what I was hoping that Eddie will win the match, though, because it will make more sense him as a singles competitor to get that opportunity. But I also get what's happening with him and Ava so far in the like rough patch that he has. That every time he goes to her, he gets interrupted, so he doesn't get whatever he wants accomplished either. So it's like I get that aspect of it, but yeah, I would have preferred having the singles competitors in the match rather than the tag team champions. It just feels like if we do, obviously by Nathan being already in the match, most likely we don't have a tag team title match, during the pay-per-view in itself either. So it's like that's the only thing. But the breakup is gonna happen soon, and I'm gonna cry real bad. I'm gonna hate it.
No crying.
Oh well, we're gonna cry later anyway. We start with the Chase U part of the night with the video package of everything that's happened in Chase U so far, and I like how they highlight the accomplishments of everybody so far in the group. And I was like, this is it's not helping me right now. It's just like I knew in my mind I was like, it's the end, isn't it? It's happening. That's what they're giving everything here. All the storyline from the beginning here. Uh, we know they had to put Seth Rollins' son in the match. Hey,
Obviously.
hey, be careful with that. Be careful. Well,
I mean, he trained him. To be fair, it's public knowledge
I
that he.
know, but I don't want no hate on Nathan or Seth Rollins. I love
Oh,
both
of
of them.
course. Love them. This was a really cool vignette. I like that they really highlighted like every single thing that Andre was able to do for all three. They talked about Theo winning that battle royal to go on to face Roxanne. They talked about, him and Hudson winning the NXT tag titles. They talked about Osborne being in the breakout tournament and making it to the finals, even though he didn't win. And it just shows like how big of a storyline that this team has really been through the last couple years. It's been a
Mhm.
prominent factor in NXT for a while, so I'm kind of interested to see where they go from here. But I like this vignette better than one they did right before the match. I wish they switched the order and had this one right before the
Mhm.
match and then the other
Yeah.
one where that took place.
No, I get that. And it just gave me that nostalgia. I'm like, it's over, isn't it? Yeah, I was not a fan. But after that, I don't know, my notes keep falling. I don't know what point it happened, but we also had a video from Roxanne that she's saying it doesn't matter who wins the Iron Survivor, they're gonna go after me and they're gonna go lose anyway. And I like how she's at the beach and then we get Soruga interrupting her, like of all people, like it was so random because I saw it on Twitter at the beginning of it and I stopped it right before Soruga came on, so I didn't realize she was part of the video until I watched it during NXT and I went, oh, I missed a part in there. I missed a little segment in here. No, hey, just get ready. He's gonna turn, like I said, did to Roman. It's okay. Let it happen. It's okay. It's gonna
Listen,
break my heart, but let it happen.
when you're living in Florida, there's only so many beaches you could go to, right? So it's just probably whichever one you're living in nearby that they all just went to. Maybe they should have picked a state. There's 49 other states that Roxanne could have went to. Why she had to stay in Florida?
Why not Florida?
I mean, fair. You live there.
I was gonna say they had a couple beaches like about an hour away, so they should. She has options at least, but she happens to be the same one that Soul went to. Um, then we have the first women's match of the night. So it's Jada Parker versus Stephanie, and let me tell you, I was mad at this match, not because of everything happening, but just thinking about the fact that Jada or Stephanie, I wanted both of them in the match. I didn't want them to face each other. Like, come on, and Chip Shawn. It's like this is not what I was wanting you to cook tonight. I'm like, I loved the match though. Don't get me wrong, I loved it, but I just wanted both of them to be in the match, not one or the other. So I that's the only part I didn't like about this match. I feel like I like how they portrayed it as one of um for Jaida, it's probably one of her like most accomplished matches to be able to have Stephanie against her. So I really enjoyed that part of it. I feel like again there was nothing like major like happened during the match in itself aside from Lola coming in here distracting Jaida, and that helps out Stephanie get that win at the end to qualify. So so far at that moment at the beginning of the show we get Soruka and Stephanie for the Iron Survivor. True so far.
I agree with you. I think Parker should have wrestled somebody else because I think that they both deserve to be in this match. But Ella brought up the point to me that they always do the last chance qualifying match of all the losers
Mm-hmm.
kind of facing each other. So maybe that's how Parker gets in. But I think she's definitely showed out in the later part of this year, and she definitely deserves to be in contention for that match. Like you said, this match was fine. Vaquer continues to show week after week why she's one of the best NXT has to offer. Lola Vice came out to distract Parker by holding a brick as Vaquer took advantage and got the win. And then we also, right before this, it was announced that Julia and Kalani Jordan are going to face next week in a qualifier, which I don't know if I like that one because it's the same thing. Like, I think Kalani also deserves
Yep.
to be in that match. And then, you can't have Julia lose. So it's like really, it's complex. This is what happens when you
Yeah.
have too many women in your roster.
Mm-hmm.
Why couldn't there be two woman Iron Survivor matches? You have one go after the NXT Women's Championship, you have the other go after the Women's North American Championship. You know what? That's not a bad idea. Shawn Michaels. If you have, here, I'm spitting this out for you. You're welcome.
I like what you're cooking there though. But I was thinking the same thing because I was like, I'm already mad about Jaida versus Stephanie. And then we get after the match, Kalani's watching it and there's a video package from Julia talking about the Iron Survivor and trying to go after Roxanne and her journey in NXT so far. She's like, I've been here for 2 months from Japan and what I've learned so far being here in the travel and things like that. And then at the end she goes, Roxanne, I'm coming for you. And then Kalani's watching it and she goes, oh, and Stoner and Stevie are behind her. She's like, if you guys have any pull with Ava, and then they both go, me. And it's like,
I,
so I want Julia. And they're like, okay, we're going to talk to her about it. And I'm like, I'm already mad about Jada versus Stephanie. I'm going to get even more mad now that I get Kalani versus Julia, and we have one or the other one. But again, like you said, I made me think of the same thing. I was like, that shows you how stacked this women's division is to the point of like, there's no wrong choice with the lineup that we have so far, and then there's other people that could have been choices there too, which is a good problem to have at the same time for them. So next
there's
week
not
we do get Kalani versus Julia.
there's not even a wrong choice with a winner. Like whoever wins this
Yeah.
match, like this is probably going to be the hardest match to call on deadline because you could go so many different ways. Like we see Zaria qualify later on in the night, and we'll get there because I got to talk about my girl Wren Sinclair. Then you got Julia, you got Stephanie Vaquer, like one of them has to win, but it's kind of like which one of them do you have win? And then whichever one is that the one to beat Roxanne, or do you do the triple threat match between all three of them, or the fatal four way, which a lot of people want to see is that four way between Roxanne and all three of them, and that will be the match that Roxanne probably loses the title. But there's a lot of different choices you could go here, so I'm kind of curious
Mm-hmm.
to see which way they want to go.
Yeah, that was my same thought process too. It's like it's I wouldn't say it's a good problem to have just because you have so many choices. There's so many routes you can take. So at this point, with the lineup that we have so far, there is no wrong choice. It just makes it interesting, really. And as Will says, I don't mind because in New Japan for the G1, our favorites may lose. That's a great problem to have a deep division. Yeah, and I'm like, this is something that they do have with the women versus with the men. It doesn't feel the same though. It I don't want to say it's like a given, but I was like, you can kind of feel like what way they're leaning more versus with the ladies. It's like you kind of like, you could go either way, really. I'm like, somebody can come in here and cost Julia the match, and then I put Kalani in there. So it's like, you never really know what's going to happen.
NXT, most dangerous place to be with beatdowns. We saw that throughout the night.
Most dangerous place on earth. That's what happens when it's so close to Disney. We do get Dion, Lennox, and Brinley that are warming up for their match, and right after this, we get Tony versus Brooks. And the stipulation is if Brooks wins, then he gets the title match for Shawn Spears. Um, I feel like this was, I don't want to say a trend, but it just felt like today with the wrestling, there was nothing really that stood out to me aside from like the storytelling within the matches themselves, but like nothing like that I could highlight within the match here. I feel like this one was a quick match, like quicker than I expected it to be. And we get Tony. I know at one point Tony's knee gets caught on the rope, and at the end he ends up winning. And then Shawn gets in the match. They shake hands after the match, and Brooks comes from behind and just basically just hits that same knee that got caught on the ropes for Tony, and Sean Spears just smiling about the result. Good night, Ed. I hope Mama Fries is doing better.
Um,
The yeah, quick.
I don't understand the Jensen and Spears pairing. I think it's so weird. It's so like why? I mean, we get to see Spears every week on TV, which is fine because that's something we didn't get to do in AEW. So I get that part, but it's kind of like there's so many other things for Spears to do. Why bring him back to be a manager of some sort? He gets the title match next week, or yeah, it is a title match next week, so he gets a match, so he's happy about that. Yeah, I mean, D'Angelo dominated most of this match, so Jensen kind of got squashed basically. But yeah, Spears tried to shake D'Angelo's hand. Jensen attacked him. Tony went simple. To the next.
Yeah, it just felt like it was a lot more like storyline progression, but there was not much that I could say like, oh wow, like I'm like this is something great that happened during the match. But we do get a lot of progression in the storylines today. Right after this, we get Karmen and Ashante warming up as well, and then we get onto the mixed tag match. But before that happens, as NXT likes to do, we get Lexus talking about being the best version of himself, and you're like wondering who the heck he's talking to because they're so silent as he's talking to, and is if I say his name correctly, Yoshiki. I know he's on a excursion from Noah with Josh Briggs. So he's like, I'm glad you're not judging me based on my past. And then he leaves, and then Briggs is like, "What the heck was that about?" He's like, "I have no idea." He's like, "It's crazy here in NXT," and I like how he does that. And then we get the teams that were still brawling from the opening match, brawling backstage. He goes, "That's the kind of crazy I like." I like that chaos. I'm like, "Yeah, you're welcome. This is NXT. Welcome, sir." This is pretty much it. All the beatdowns and the brawls and everything happening everywhere.
I'm excited to see what he does. I know he's been like hopping around NXT the last couple weeks. I'm assuming he's going to be involved in Deadline somehow in a match. I just don't know. Maybe it is against Lexus King. Maybe it's against somebody else. But I'm excited to see like what that partnership kind of really looks like because we've seen NXT superstars go over to Noah a bunch. Not like they really did anything over there, but they were there. It counted. So I'm curious to see, how they kind of use him, how they do all that stuff, and yeah, Lexus King just took up TV time that we didn't need. Whoa.
Yeah, that's one I can't always do without. Yeah, with him, I'm curious to how it'll go because I feel like I think it was last week when Ava had that meeting with all the tag teams. Ed and I were confused at first because they do show Briggs in that meeting, but obviously he doesn't have a partner at the time, so he just leaves during the meeting before the meeting really starts. So like, why is he even doing that to begin with? And then he gets introduced later on. Yoshiki gets introduced to Ava. And he's like, oh, he's on the excursion here from Noah. We're like, oh, this was the tag team partner. But if you notice though, whenever all the tag teams are brawling backstage, Josh and Yoshiki are not part of it though. They're just like looking from like far away. So I wonder that's gonna make them stand out later on. But that's the only like they're not a team, but they feel like they're together as a team because of Josh's connection to Noah. So I think it's interesting to see what would happen there later on if they do make him a tag team. Because like we were saying, like that they haven't announced any team for the tag teams, but they told them to step up, but they haven't really announced anything for deadline for any teams whatsoever. And based on what we've seen, they're definitely not gonna get a title match because Nathan's in the Iron Survivor. So I don't know
Good
about
job,
that.
Ava. Way to work, Ava.
I'm still surprised that we let AJ Styles work Noah. I feel like I'm not surprised just because it's not the dementia era as Mel likes to call it. It's a different era in that aspect with Triple H, and I feel like he sees that it's more like I don't want to say healthier, but it's like more rewarding to team up with companies in that aspect of it. Plus, I'm like the way we see it is like it's very limited dates. It's not even like they're gonna be there for a long, long time either. So I feel like it makes it really interesting, especially what's happening with like Noah and TNA, of course, because I love TNA and what they do. So I love that part of it. Why
It's
not?
also AJ. Like AJ has all
Yeah.
these connections before he went to WWE. Like he did everything
Mm-hmm.
first, then WWE picked him up. It's not like most people that started like went to WWE and then went to all the independents
Mm-hmm.
and then came back. So I mean, they let AJ do whatever. I mean, you all saw the reports that TNA reached out to induct AJ in the Hall of Fame, but AJ
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to do it because he's still an active superstar. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's not surprised. It's let AJ
Mm-hmm.
do AJ things.
Yeah. Why not? I'm like I know he's active, but I'm like, we know he's on his like last couple years, so might as well let him do his thing before he really retires. So might as
Don't
well let him do
remind
it.
me.
I know I don't like it either. I'm not a fan. So,
Unbelievable.
um, we do get the mixed tag match here. I did like the fact that the guys came out to the girls' theme songs because it wasn't like individuals. It was like they both came out to the girls' theme song, except for Ashante's. He came out to his first, but he got interrupted very quickly by Karmen, and he kind of gave that look of like, "Why are you interrupting me?" Like because I wasn't even done with my entrance and you come in with yours. But it was very quickly done. But I like that fact that that combination that we got today here. I thought this was funny just because in my mind, the way the match started with the back and forth of like tagging each other in and out between Karmen and Ashante, I was hoping that once Brinley tagged in and Dion went to her and told her like take advantage and do the roll up, I really wanted her to win in that moment. That's one of the few times I wouldn't have minded the match to be that short and embarrass Karmen in that way because she's teaming up with Ashante. But the match was a little bit more of a I don't want to call it hot tag. What do we call it?
Quick.
Yeah, it was one of those like tag your it that very quickly happened a couple of times. It just I kind of felt bad for Brinley and Dion just because they're like coming in and out of the ring, and I'm like, just might as well stay in the ring. Don't even go there. Just stay inside. Don't go off of it. Um, but I did like the fact that Brittany came in. It's like her and Dion, they have. I feel like they had a really good chemistry as a team, which is something I didn't expect from both of them. But I like them like trying to take advantage of the situation between Ashante and Carmen here. I thought it was fun. But I did like the ending at the same time, just because Adonis is trying to get a kiss from Brinley and Brinley just slaps him, and Carmen takes advantage for the win. And she's like, "No, you're not getting a kiss from him. If anything, she kind of took that jealousy from her and like let it help her win in that aspect." And I'm still though, even with the win here, I'm not a fan of Carmen being in the storyline. It's like I feel like Carmen's being wasted in a like, romantic storyline, and just not it for me.
I agree. The one thing I did enjoy was the synergy between the Pac-12 game this weekend and this matchup because both teams were representing either Oregon State or
Hmm.
Washington State. We are coming towards the end of college football season, and that was really cool because, we really don't see that stuff in NXT. We mostly see it in WWE, and you see them. Cody Rhodes, which was on College Game Day Saturday, is the celebrity guest picker. We've seen Sheamus do the same thing earlier in the season, so that was really cool to see like a smaller company kind of get involved with that. So I like that as the sports media major in me. Like you said, this match was quick. Petrovic pinning Reece to get the win. And they held hands. Petrovic and Adonis held hands and they looked at each other really weird. Like, yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't think that she should be in this romantic storyline. I think she would be a great contender for Fallon at this point for the North
Hmm.
American Championship. I think she's proven herself. She's had some really good matches. When she was teaming up with Natty, that stuff was really good too towards the beginning of the year. So yeah, just don't do this. Nor have her beat Fallon Henley because why not?
I feel like if it was at least with somebody interesting, then I wouldn't mind it that much. But Ashanti is somebody that I'm like, I feel like she has a better star power than he does right now with the way she's been going, and it just feels like it's kind of derailing her and like distracting her from going towards like you said, like a championship of some sort. So it's like, I don't like it. I'm like, did it make a fun match tonight? Yeah, but I'm not a fan of it like overall just happening the way it did. But I did like the facial expressions between them after the match because they're like doing like bumping each other and like getting their hands raised and they keep looking at each other smiling as it's happening. I'm like, no, I don't like it. Please end it, please.
Please
um,
end this.
that's the only part. But anyway, we do have the interview with Rich. I don't think I paid attention to what really he said, but it doesn't surprise me that
I
obviously
got
going
you.
against Tracy. Yeah.
Rich Holland says that Chase U is wearing the shirts that he got them, and the Chase U we are able to see today is all because of him and his doing. Because he helped resurrect Chase U after they went bankrupt. But remember, they sold out those calendars 2 times. That's a really big
I
deal for them.
forgot about that. That was in the video package.
Like the calendars. After destroying everyone in Chase U, he does not know why Chase wanted another opportunity at him. He says that he's going to be the one to go on to Deadline and become the new NXT champion.
Yeah, and that again made me feel like it was the beginning of the end that was continuing for them. But I
This was the
figured this is
beginning of all of us crying.
right. This is the favorite part of the night, so I'll give it to you because we get Zaria versus Red Sinclair and an Iron Survivor qualifier.
I was very nervous when Ella sent me this match last week and was like, "Yo, your girl's gonna like she's wrestling in an Iron Survivor Challenge." I was like, "Bro, she's gonna lose. I don't know why you're sending this to me." Well, so I don't know if you know how Ella does her predictions and stuff. She does it based off baby faces and heels. So she's like, if this match is like you need like a little mix. So that's why Wren's gonna be in it. And Fatal Influence is gonna cause Zaria. And I was like, yeah, I don't think that's happening. But thank you for letting me believe my own delusion here that Wren was gonna win. And you know what? Wren lost. Similar to the other qualifying match we saw earlier, I wish Sinclair faced somebody else. I think that Wren is kind of getting, I don't want to say new quarter catch crew is kind of taking over her, but like we only see her in vignettes and promos with them and her accompanying Charlie to everything and not
Charles. It's Charles.
I thought it was Charles and I was like second guessing myself. I'm like, Charles, Charlie, it's one of them. It's practically the same name.
Yeah.
But I want Wren to wrestle more. Maybe it's the bias in me because I
Mhm.
want to see my friend wrestle on NXT. How dare I be
Mhm.
biased? But yeah, I think Sinclair pretty much showed out this year. She was really thrown in the deep end last
Mhm.
year. I remember talking to Shawn Michaels about it on a media call where I was like, you really just put Wren on TV right when she signed. Like, do you like what she's doing?
Mhm.
And yeah, she's great. She could really like quick. She's quick with everything. She's gonna be a major player for us. And here we are a year later, and she can't even win on TV. But Zaria is a different beast. My God, basically killed Wren.
Mhm.
Basically just killed her in the middle of the ring. She's gonna be a game changer for the NXT Women's Division. She's gonna be probably the biggest factor going into that Iron Survivor match because she's the biggest out of everybody. She can manhandle
Mhm.
everybody. She'll probably. I don't think she's gonna win. I think she's gonna have the second most pinfalls. I think Vaquer is gonna
Mhm.
win, in my opinion. But yeah, Ren had a great showing, but can my friend please win on NXT TV? It's bad enough my other friend AEW can't win. Ring of Honor people, no one can win. Like, what do I do? I need better friends. I think that's the problem.
And I feel you because when they announced that Ren Sinclair was signing, in my mind I was thinking I like her heel work in NWA because I've seen the clips here and there because I don't watch the whole show. And I enjoy what she does. So I was not expecting the same character, but like at least like a heel persona because I feel like she shines better as a heel. So when she starts here as a baby face and not even a great baby face because I feel like they didn't develop her well and they barely used her. I'm glad that at least now with what we call the Candy Crew, which is the no quarter catch crew, she's at least been on TV more often. And even then, these matches, even when she's losing, she's doing such a great effort and such a great showing in the matches that I feel like it's making people like cheer for her even more. And I feel like they didn't know much about her, so they didn't know whether to cheer or boo her. But then now that they've been seeing her, like showcasing her more often, a lot more people are behind her, and I'm really liking that about it. But again, I was like, I just miss that like heel persona she had. I feel like she really shined doing that kind of like mean girl kind of person, and
When
I missed
she
that from
is
her.
going to bring the interviews to NXT whenever she turns heel, it is going to be the greatest thing on NXT TV, and I don't think anyone is ready for the return of the gold microphone. Just saying.
Yes, I no lie. Every time that she when they was another that she signed, I told her that one of the first things I wanted her doing those interviews again because I missed those reels on Instagram when I used to
So
watch his
good.
interviews.
It's so good.
Yeah,
For
yeah, I really loved her character work in that. It was like I missed that type of attitude from her. So I'm hoping that once she turns heel, that we do get kind of at least a little bit of that back because I missed that persona from her. And it's like it's hasn't been the same with her as a baby face, but I'm glad I'm liking her matches a lot just because we get to showcase her a little bit more. But this was one of those, like you said, once I saw the graphic, I went, Zaria's winning. I like Zaria, but again, I feel bad for Ren at the same time. And it's like again, it's like we were discussing earlier. It's like you had such a deep division that I feel like you could have either choice would have been great, but we felt like already Zaria was gonna win. So there's nothing else like we could have done here, but like wait for the inevitable. I felt like the only thing I would agree with Ella though, I expected that I thought that maybe somebody, maybe one of the girls from Fatal Influence would come in and cost her that title shot there for the Iron Survivor. So I was waiting for something like that because I feel like it doesn't hurt her just because it's a distraction from the group that she's feuding with. So I feel like that would have made sense as well. So I feel like that's the only way that it could have gone either way for me. But in my mind, I was like, Zaria's, the first choice to put it like that, like a clean victory. So it did happen. So now we have Stephanie, Soul, and Zaria out of the five women. So a great lineup so far. And the next week we get Kalani versus Julia. So again, either choice will be great. And like you said, probably the fifth one's probably gonna be the last chance um
Let
spot. So
Wren win that one. She
it's gonna be
won't.
so tough too. Like imagine if let's say for example Kalani, and then we get Jaida, and then
Cora
her too, and then
and
probably Cora. Like that's already a bit, like a strong lineup as it is.
let's go Wren.
Ugh, it's so tough. It's
Wait
tough to
till they
pick.
come out with a Wren Sinclair shirt and I'm wearing that like every Tuesday. Like, yeah, that's
Um,
my friend. And then they like never show her and I'm gonna be like, God damn it, why you gotta do this to me? Come on, Shawn.
Shawn, come on, Shawn. Right after this, we get Fatal Influence making the way to the ring, but with NXT, we get a but first. Tony's in medical getting checked out for the injury, and Ava's trying to check on him, but we get Eddy Thorpe interrupting, and again, she's like, "Hey, I'm dealing with something. I'll deal with you afterwards." And Tony's like, "No, I want to give him that title match. I want to get that title match with Shawn Spears next week." And she's like, "Okay, if you get cleared, then the match is good to go." And then he leaves, but then Eddie's like, "Well, how come?" And he's like, "I have people that distracted me, like distracted then during the match because we had all the teams balling for the opener." And Eddie goes, "How come like Tony can do that, but I can't get anything? Like I can't, I like another opportunity for this." So we'll see what happens there. I'm hoping they do a last chance for the guys too, just because we give them again that opportunity to try to get at the shot. But again, I don't think Eddie's gonna win that one. I'm sorry. I wish he was, but he's not.
Yeah, I don't see him getting in. I don't know all the like I could see Axiom winning the last chance.
Yeah,
That would make
that's.
sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially with Nathan in there, I feel like it's one of those that needs to happen if it does happen that way because we're not gonna have a tag team title match, so might as well put Axiom in the match. Um, Will HBK already got heat from letting Julia lose fast. He's like, I'm not doing that again with Zaria and Stephanie. I don't feel like he got heat. I don't know really.
She couldn't. The thing is, like, I understand why people were upset that she lost that match, but there was no way she was gonna win that match because
Hmm.
they're not like. It's not that they're not ready to bring up Roxanne yet. Is there's no room for her, right? Like they'd
Hmm.
bring her up and it'd be like the Kalani, not the Kalani. It'd be like the Blair Davenport and that
Yep.
crew of people that just got called up from the draft. Have we
Hmm.
seen them on Raw and SmackDown? No. So they want to
Yeah.
wait, which is why they're going to keep the title on Roxanne longer. They have this new heel tag team with Cora and Roxy that they've been wanting to do, but Cora got injured. That was the original plan a couple months ago, according to our bestie pals at Fightful. So I get why people were upset, but like think logically,
Hmm.
like they're not gonna call Roxanne up if they have nothing to do if she's like killing it in NXT. Plus, you have this Stephanie. You want Roxanne to kind of get in the ring with all these people because there's a lot of people in
Hmm.
NXT that can't wrestle these guys or
Hmm.
girls. That's why you have Wren wrestling
Hmm.
Zaria. She's on the indies.
Hmm.
She knows how to wrestle. A lot of these
Yep.
newer girls you have in there are college athletes.
Hmm.
They would kill them. You
Yep.
need your indie people there to help.
Hmm. And I feel like to add another point to what you're saying too, I don't think it's the right time to call anybody up right now until after everything changes in January, just because we have one less hour of Raw, and then back in January we're gonna get the extra hour of Raw and the extra hour of SmackDown. So they're gonna need people to fill those spots in. So it makes more sense of when people are gonna getting that call up will be sometime after January because they have the time to do it. Right now they're I don't want to say cutting it, but they're just like not doing a lot just because they know that they don't have the time to do it. But obviously in January they will have the time. So I feel like it makes more sense to, like you said, keeping Roxanne and Cora there for that little bit. They're two of the few people that have the experience to help out all these girls that are starting out. And of course, Roxanne's gonna be like, I'm not leaving until I get Julia and Stephanie before I leave. And I don't blame her for saying anything like that, or even Zaria too. So I don't blame her in that aspect for being like, I'm not leaving until I face all these three before I go somehow and make all these matches happen. And I feel like after this great run from Roxanne, you're not gonna want to end it so abruptly either. In that type of way, you're gonna want to build it and give her a proper ending compared to the other ending that she got for previous reign. So I feel like that makes more sense of like let's build it up and they gave her that like little bow, and then wrap it up that way, and then send her off to the main roster after that.
Especially too, because like Will said in the chat, if you're gonna give her the year run and have her lose a stand and deliver, like I could see her being a pretty good contender to win the Money in the Bank a couple months
Mm-hmm.
later, and then her cashing in and winning the title. Like that's the thing too. You can't have her have this dominant ass NXT Women's Title reign and then nothing happens from it. You either need to put her in championship contendership right away, or you need to have her win like the Money in the Bank. I could see her being in the Rumble again this year. She's been in the Rumble, I believe, every year she's been in NXT. I could see her doing that
Mm-hmm.
spot. I could see her being on like the Raw after Mania, like stuff that she's been
Yeah.
doing. But yeah, we got time, people. We don't gotta rush perfection. We got time.
Yeah. I feel like if Raw was 3 hours, I would understand if they called her up, but I feel like right now they don't have the time to do that. And I feel like once you get that hour of Raw and the hour on SmackDown, that's when you get it. You're gonna get those call ups happening to fill those voids. And like you said, it's like you don't want to call them up now when you have people like Blair Davenport who we barely see on TV, Kiana that we barely saw on TV before she got injured. Like you don't want to see that right now. And even right now, you get also people like Katana and Kaden that you barely see on TV, and Lyra after everything that's happened. So you want to keep the people that you got right now, but don't call up anybody up until after January sometime. And it feel like it will make more sense sometime after Mania, most likely, just to like capitalize on that timing there. So I will wait up until at least WrestleMania and see what happens, and then you'll notice the difference. Um, right after this, we do get the promo from Fatal Influence about being the top of the division. And Fallon, I like the line from Fallon because she says, I could be one of those people that I could worry about nobody, but I'd rather be that fighting champion. I feel like something that I didn't expect from her as a heel, even saying that like, that particular line. But she said, I'm gonna do an open challenge. And I realized, did you notice the reaction from Chasey? She went like, open challenge, you say. But she's like, not tonight though. No, no, no. Next week though. When it's like when I want, it's when I want it though. I do like the fact that we get Lash and Jakara interrupting, and she's like, no, no, no. You guys are not coming in here. You guys went to Saudi. You guys got your title shot. Don't even come near me. And then Nikita comes out, and I'm like, no, why you stick to the back, please? This was, and then we get everybody brawling here, and again, it just shows again how deep the division is because we get Rizzo goes like towards Nikita. I think I saw Palmer at one point in there as well, but I do like the fact that and Izzy Dane was there too. That Fatal Influence goes in for the attack. They join in, but then Fallon is standing tall by herself in the ring until we get the great Tatum attacking from behind. It's like I love this, and I love that championship on her shoulder. Please give it to me. I would love to see it.
This was good. I was actually kind of concerned when Henley turned heel. I didn't know if she'd be able to play it off. I never seen her work on the indies, so I don't know like what she was more prominent in doing down there, whether it was a face or a heel. But this heel turn's actually been really good. I mean, I know that people say that this is basically Toxic Attraction 2.0, but you know, these people don't control what they do on TV. If you want to blame anyone, you could blame Chef Michaels for that one. But I think she's really trying to make it her own. She is pretty, in my opinion at least, she is pretty much like a temporary champion, whether it be Tatum or Zaria who takes that title from her. She's kind of just like the standalone of, yeah, we need a transition, so here we go. Which, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I would rather have Kalani have a longer reign, but again, who am I? Who am I? But this segment was good, like you said. You know, it very much showcases a very large women's roster. Tatum standing tall. We've seen her, you know, really shine this year. She did some stuff in TNA. She did some stuff across everything. You know, she reunited with her friend Lyra Valkyria a couple weeks ago. So yeah, fun.
Mhm. Yeah, I really like this part of it. I think that though the only thing I would have changed here is that I would have, even though Tatum attacked her, I wouldn't have put the graphic later for the match, just because it's an open challenge. I think it would have been interesting just to see what's happened before with Wesley when he was champion, or having all the people try to go after to see who will get that title shot, rather than just be like, oh, it's Tatum. I was like, I would have preferred like getting the surprise next week or whoever answered it. But at the same time, I do understand because you do get Tatum standing tall in the end, so it makes sense why they gave it to her like the way they did. So we do get that for next week as well. Then after this, we get Brooks and Shawn and the guy Nico. The only thing is like he talks to this guy like we'd seen him on TV before, and we only saw him like was it last week or the week before? I don't even know who this guy is. But Nico is the one that tells Shawn, "You do get the title match for next week." They're like, "Yeah, the plan everything's going according to plan." I was like, I don't know why this Nico guy is so important. I really don't understand, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see on that one.
I don't understand why we go from promo to promo to promo. Because then right after this, we had the Petrovic and Adonis segment, like literally
Hmm.
0.2 seconds after, where, they're talking about their win and like things they want to do going forward. And then we had Nikita Lyons, who just ruins everything apparently in NXT. And she's like, "Oh, Adonis, I'm waiting for you to text me back." And Petrovic gets so upset because I believe she was about to ask him out on a date. I think that's what it was leading to.
Hmm.
And she's like, "Of course." And she runs away. And Adonis is like, "No, no, no, I didn't text her. She's lying. I swear, I swear." And he goes chase after her. Like, why? You couldn't save this for like next week or like a social media segment that I needed like back to back. Am I watching Ring of Honor?
No, you're not watching Ring of Honor. I can confirm that. No, I thought this was funny too, just because the only part that was cute is that he wants to say something to her, but then she wants to say something. He's like, "No, you go first." And then when she goes to speak, that happens with Nikita, and I was like, "No, why ruin the moment, Nikita?" And then obviously, like you said, that makes Carmen run away. But I do like that when they do segments, I do prefer having them one back to back rather than having this like a match in a promo and a match in a promo. We do get like all the stuff backstage almost in a row sometimes. So I do prefer that when it happens in a break. Plus, this one was quick enough. Like I didn't mind it. If it took a little bit longer, then I would have been like definitely put as a digital exclusive sort of thing after the match somehow. I feel like that would have been a little bit different for me. But I do like this because it continues on also the part from the North American women's segment because Nikita is going to medical to get checked out after the brawl happened. Um, so she said she was waiting on his text. And after this is when we get the Ethan promo that I was talking about earlier, that video package for the Iron Survivor. He's like, "I know nobody wants me in the title match, but I'm gonna qualify for the Iron Survivor." He's like, "That's all I need to do, qualify." He makes it sound like it's just easy, like I'm just qualifying, I'm done. And then I like that interaction with Nathan and Axiom when Nathan's like, "Well, it's Ethan, so it makes sense why he's like so confident that he's gonna qualify." And Axiom's like, "No, I don't understand why he's so confident." He's like, "Well, it is Ethan. Like he's a former champion." He goes, "Yeah, but I'm the one going against him." And I was like, my heart is gonna break soon. I'm not
We
ready for
have
this.
time though. So who do you think is going to be the tag team to defeat them?
And that's the tough part because I forgot who it was that I think it was it Javon and Cedric. I feel like it came really close, so I really thought they were gonna take it. But I feel like the one I don't want, and I know Mark is gonna be happy about this. I don't want Gallus to win them. I really don't.
I agree.
That's I think the only team that I will get off my list. Um, I feel like I wouldn't mind OTM getting it. I feel like I forgot their names. We call them TNT, Tyreek, and I forgot the other guy's name. I feel like they're too new to get the title, to get the championship. So I feel like that one wouldn't make sense to me. I just want Gallus off my list. So I feel like OTM would be one that I would like, just because so far with the group, Jada has been having more of a spotlight than they have. So I feel like they really need something like that. So maybe that could be the one. The other one that I really wouldn't mind would be either the family, so Stax and Luca, and the other one I also wouldn't mind would be the Candy Crew. So Tavion and oh my god, I always want to say Riley, but it's not Riley. Miles, there you go. So those are the three that I would pick from to take the titles from them, if anything. Because the only thing that made me like with Cedric and Javon, I feel like I wouldn't have liked it just because we're going from two individuals being a tag team, like I have with Nathan and Axiom, to Cedric and Javon being two individuals who just made a tag team to get a title shot. So I would have preferred having a team that's established to get it now.
That's asking for too much in NXT though.
I mean, sometimes it can happen. So to confirm, we got next week we have Kalani versus Julia, Ethan versus Axiom, Tony versus Shawn Spears, and Tatum versus Fallon for the North American Championship.
Ooh,
Um,
look at that comment in the chat talking about Josh
yes.
Alexander. If you missed the news, Ella and I were literally podcasting when the news broke. I sent her the tweet and her face like bugged out. And I remember Collins was like, "What are you guys like secrets over here?" And I'm like, "No, Josh Alexander just retired from the Indies. This is a big deal." So yeah, Josh
Yes.
Alexander has announced that in January he is retiring from the Indies. I think he announced 6 dates that he is taking and he is done, which the speculation is, his contract's up in February. And maybe Alexander and Ethan, maybe we get a North reunion. Maybe they go after the NXT titles. Maybe Josh goes to AEW. You never know. I'm excited to see what he does, though. I think
Me too.
WWE would be the better place for him. I just feel like he would
Mhm.
automatically get lost in the shuffle in AEW, especially with Speedball Mike Bailey making his way over there.
Yep.
And we don't really know how that's gonna play out. So I feel like,
Mhm.
have Josh and NXT, have him team with Ethan for a bit, have them feud, when it's time to break up the tag team. And I think Josh is gonna be a really dominant force. I could see him even being in the Iron Survivor match in December of 2025, thinking so long term here. But yeah. I would be very intrigued if that were to
Yeah.
happen.
Me too. And I feel like to me, the when he said he retired from the Indies, it made me feel like it's not AEW because obviously AEW still allows indie bookings, so that's the only thing that made me think of that. But again, I'm like, if we do get Naxium, still Fraxium as we call them, being champions, and then we get Ethan and Alexander, holy crap, my heart's gonna break, but I'm gonna be happy at the same time just because I want the North reunion. So it definitely would like it definitely will keep me torn like in half here. But again, I feel like that was such huge news, and TNA just losing two other people in a row from Speedball now to Josh later. Like I feel like definitely is a hit for TNA. As Will saying it here, TNA's taking a hit with Speedball and Josh and Jordan leaving. Yeah, and probably Joe Hendry on his way out too. So
We have time for Joe Hendry though.
yeah, we have
We
a little bit more time,
we
but
have time. He's got to like win a title first,
mm-hmm. I don't think that's gonna happen at this
You
point.
don't think he's gonna end up winning the TNA title? Oh my god, that'd be like the biggest upset in TNA history.
I lost hope at this point.
I agree with you. I mean, come on, he had
I
like
want it to happen, but I lost the hope.
I will go fight the people at Anthem for you to restore your hope.
I lost all hope at this point. I don't like it. Logan, I think of Julia versus Stephanie after the match, Stand and Deliver, and big debuts for Stand and Deliver from Stardom. I mean, who
Hmm.
knows at this point? By the time that happens next year, who knows what could happen? But yeah, just like it feels like definitely TNA is losing a lot of big names. I don't want to say in a row, but between now and next year, they're losing a lot of big names so far. So they're definitely got to do something about that.
Their knockouts division desperately needs help when Jordan leaves. I will definitely say that. They have not built up anybody to kind of fill that void. Masha really doesn't have any opponents to go after. Like, they need, I don't know, if they need to sign some more people or build up people. I don't know. They need help. They've technically needed help
Yeah.
since Diana left TNA, let's be real. But they need help.
Yeah, I'm like they lost Trinity, they lost Diana, they lost Chelsea, they lost Jay Vidal, and they lost
Mia
Giselle
Yim.
too, and
Mia Yim
Mia.
too.
All those people like almost in a row. So yeah. But now we're gonna talk about the main event. I don't know if I want to talk about it.
Well, we'll talk about the promo that happened first. I'll make you prepare yourself for the sadly departed Chase U. So there was another Chase U promo. Everyone's in the classroom, all hyping up Chase. He says that he knows that he's been hard on some of the members of Chase U, and he does not regret anything. We see flashbacks of him like yelling at everybody, like getting in everyone's face. He knows that he has been able to push all of his students to the highest potential, and he is walking into the biggest match of his career. And he says that he is going to defeat Holland and become the new NXT champion at Deadline. This is where I knew that it was over. This promo, I was like, oh no. But like I said, I like the other promo they showed earlier in the night. I wish they showed that right before this match, especially with like the video of just like all their good moments. I felt like it would have been like okay, like would it taste like my palate would have been a little like better than seeing this. And I was like, oh fuck, really, Shawn?
This it made me more sad on its as it was starting, but I do like the fact that this is what I was hoping would happen in the ambulance match instead of tonight. This is what I kind of had in mind happening because Even though I think Rich gave him Chase a low blow, if I'm not mistaken, if I heard that correctly, because I wasn't paying attention around that time. But we do get Thea coming in, and just as he's getting the pin, Duke comes in, basically pulls the referee out to the ring. He starts brawling with Rich, and Rich basically just spears him through a part of the stage. And Thea's just yelling at him as this is happening. And then right after that, as basically Rich is turning around, he gets Riley. Riley comes in here, tries for his part too, but at that point, Rich had exposed the concrete for Andre, but Riley's the one that got thrown into the concrete floor. And I guess on his way down, he hit Thea because Thea was on the ground when this happened as well. So I missed that part of it. And basically, at that point, we see it as like Duke is down, Riley's down, and Andre is all fired up, thinking like I'm basically the last hope for Chase U. And we do get the Chase U stomps. I love how they got even louder tonight because of the crowd and the Chase U shirts. Like I love having everybody from the Chase U shirts like right there in the camera angle for us to see as this is all happening. And yeah, it's like no surprise at the end. That's at the same time we get Rich winning, and that sinister smile that he has as he's winning. I was like, damn, this guy, he knows what he's doing here. I do like the shot though of Andre looking on because he's looking down from his angle and he sees first Riley on the ground and then Thea a little bit aside from him. And then Duke on the other side as they're all like almost crying that Chase U's done. But I was like, the crowd is for silence when Rich wins. But then when Andre's looking on, they start singing "Na Na Na," and I'm like, "Are you freaking kidding me, people? 5 seconds ago, you were almost crying in silence because of the end of it. Now you're singing to him."
Remember,
That made me wanna
NXT is
cry.
crazy. You never know what's gonna happen.
It made me want to cry when I heard that, though.
Well, I agree. The one thing that I really loved was that the entire crowd was basically wearing red and black. It added so much more to the importance of the match. It showed that the crowd was very invested in what was going to happen. Basically, the entire NXT universe was section Chase U tonight. Um, yeah, this match was okay. I mean, I understood why we need all the interference and everybody to get involved because it plays into Andre's done so much for everybody in Chase U. Now it's Chase U fighting for everybody else, and it wasn't enough. I don't think Holland is going to defeat Trick Williams. Trick Williams was on commentary for this match, which I thought really added to because even Trick wanted Chase to win because he didn't want Chase U to end either, which I thought was really cool. Like, oh, even he doesn't want it to end. How nice of him. But yeah, I'm intrigued to see where they all go from here. I would love a Thea Hale North American Women's title run so badly. I think that is something that needs to be done. I don't really know what you do with Duke and Riley though. I could see them kind of, maybe they still tag team and they go after the NXT tag champs. Maybe one of them goes after the North American Championship, but I need Thea Hale and that North American Championship yesterday. She should have been the inaugural champion. Sorry, Kalani Jordan.
Yeah, she was definitely one of those that I really would have wanted. Will here. I'm sorry, I don't care how strong they book him. I don't want to see a title match with him and Trick. It better not be the main event. The Woman Iron Survivor better be.
I think
I
it
feel like
might
that's the
be.
only thing. Yeah, I do have a feeling like the women's might be. Um, I feel like the only thing with this, I would have preferred it if it ended up being at least a three-way, just because I'm not invested to put it like that in a Rich and Trick one. But I feel like adding the layer of Andre being there, I feel like that would have made it more interesting going into the match, and that was the part that I was hoping for would happen, or at least Andre winning, because I feel like that would have made it different. But I don't want to see Trick versus Rich.
I agree. I think the thing with Ridge is we've seen him like built over so many different times because he was in NXT for like a small hit, then he went up to the main roster with Sheamus and Pete Dunne, and then the whole thing with Big E, and like that really made a lot of people turn off on the Ridge Holland train because they're like, you basically ended Big E's career, we don't like you anymore. Then he was with the Brawling Brutes, they had nothing for him anymore, he went back down to NXT, and like no one's been invested in him really ever since the Big E incident. And accidents happen, I'm not blaming him, but that turns you off from a wrestler. And like he hasn't even tried to like do anything to like rectify the situation. I think that's the other problem as well. So yeah, I mean, I agree. That's not a main event I would want to see either. So I am optimistic the Women's Iron Survivor match would main event, or if Roxanne is even defending the title against somebody, like maybe that would main event as well. But Yeah, the Women's Iron Survivor has way more implications and way more bigger stars than a Trick Williams and Ridge Holland feud. I'm sorry, Chef Shawn Michaels.
No, definitely don't apologize for that. And I feel like there was maybe two, if I'm not mistaken, or three PLEs at this point that I feel like the women could have main evented because their match felt more important. Like, oh, this is something that Kimmy would love, kind of. Save us, Ricky Stark.
Let me tell you, that man's contract is through mid 2025. We are not seeing him in NXT or WWE till like the summer. I am sorry.
I don't know. I don't like it. But I feel like there was a point, even for example, for Halloween Havoc, this women's tag match, I feel like they should have main evented. It definitely felt more important than the guys' match. So I definitely feel like it's that time and opportunity for the women's Iron Survivor to be that main event. I feel like they have such a star power to it. So and definitely with like Roxanne being the longest reigning like champion right now in WWE, that I feel it feels more important that way. So hopefully they're the main event. That's my hope, but we'll see about that. Um, I am gonna play the calendar once again, and then we'll come back here and then do our plugs before we head up for the night. So we'll see you in just a few minutes.
Reece knows.
Never gonna stop, never gonna change, never gonna do the things you say. I run my own way to get there. Pulls a coin and I don't seem to care. In the air, no more crowd, just the opposite kind of few clouds. Tell me the storm is coming for the sake of all your lies. Why don't you try to be wise? Know that I need you anyway.
I never wanted to be alive, just to feel like I'm fading. And though my heart breaks a beat of sound, I cross the lines just to tell you, don't lead the way, don't even say that I drown with a child playing parade. I feel like I'm fading.
I do love our choices for the theme song just because we're all rocking to the theme song as it's happening in the background. I wish people could see us.
I literally was about to say the same thing, that this is the only podcast channel that has the best music for every single thing. I'm like, damn. And then we do On a
Right?
Ramble, and then that song's stuck in my head for a week, and then it gets out of my head, and I'm like, oh, it's time to record a new episode of On a Ramble. Here we are.
There you go. So, Kimi, Scoopster Kimi, what you got going on this week?
I'm not working a con. This is so weird. I have a weekend off. Well, not really, because I'll be at Full Gear. So if anyone is in the New Jersey area and head into Full Gear, come say hi to me. I will be doing media. I'll be on the scrum. Really excited. I'm really hoping my guy wins the TNT championship. Then we get our moment on the scrum again, and then everyone's like, oh my god, how does Kimmy and Daniel know each other? And it's like, well, a couple years ago I worked a con with him, and he really liked me, and now here we are. But
Aw.
you can follow me on Twitter at Kimmy_Sokol. You can follow me on Instagram at Kimmy.Sokol. You can follow me on Blue Sky at Kimmy Sokol, because Ella J made me get another app and I'm not really happy about it. And Ella and I are more active on that app anyway. And I'm just like, well, I'm not deleting my Twitter because I have 1.8K followers on there and I've spent years trying to build that up. You could see me on this channel on Thursdays at 10:15 Eastern with my wonderful co-host Colin as we review Ring of Honor. We don't really talk about Ring of Honor, we talk about everything else, but now with the final battle, we might actually talk about Ring of Honor. You could see my written reviews for Ring of Honor on PW Insider every Thursday. You could see all my Full Gear coverage on the Pop Break. I will not be on the media call. Something came up a Thursday, so I know, right? I was trying to kind of like see if I could do both, but there's no conceivable way. So you could see, so my editor is going to go on instead, so you can see our coverage from the call. My predictions are going to be over there. My scrum stuff will be there as well. And come to WrestleCade next weekend, because guys, I did something today. I don't know if you've seen my tweets, but I made a Top Golf Round 2 group chat.
Oh.
And we might be doing a Top Golf Round 2. I don't know how we're going to survive that. But if you're in the North Carolina area, there's over 200 wrestlers going to be at WrestleCade. Sting, Dennis Rodman, Tony Storm, Juice Robinson, Jay White, The Waynes, Mick Foley, Lita, and that is just a few. Go to WrestleCade.com. It is 3 days. It's so much fun. There's a huge super show. I know everyone has seen the graphic for Sheldon Benjamin. versus Speedball Mike Bailey. That match is happening at WrestleCade, and if you're in North Carolina, you might want to go see that. Turning Point, which is the TNA pay-per-view, is taking place live on Friday. I will be there with, I believe Shawn is joining us at TNA, and me and Shawn in the same place at the same time is never going to go well for anybody. So yeah, come to WrestleCade.
Chaos.
It's always
That's all I
chaos.
That's all I hear. For me, if you were not here yesterday, we debuted a women's classic wrestling with, I said Collins Square, with Melba and Auntie Collins yesterday. So if you haven't, go back and watch it, the replay. We were talking about the Mae Young Classic, the first episode in the Glorious Chaos, because Auntie kept losing power. So it was very glorious chaos, as we like to see. For me, not much going on this week, but hopefully soon we do have a guest for Deadline for the post show. I got Santana, formerly from Women's Wrestling Talk, who was my editor at that moment there. So she'll be joining us for the post show. I am looking to see who will join us to do the predictions. So we'll see about that soon. Again, you can find me next week on Taking Over Again with Ed, and Monday again for Women's Classic Wrestling with Colin Squared, as I like to call them now. So you'll see me Monday and Tuesday now. And you can find me on my Twitter and Blue Sky, which is Astrid Pizarro, my Instagram and Threads, AstridPizarro20. And as you saw in the calendar, we do have a lot going on this week, so make sure to check something out. I know you'll find something that you're going to enjoy. So please, if you haven't yet, see if I can find the right one here. There you go. If you go OLE Podcast, you can find us on the social medias here. If you're here, you're most likely on the YouTube channel, so make sure you hit subscribe. Click on that bell to be notified when we upload or go live, and click a like on the video on theirs and mine too, because we want to get pushed by the algorithm. And I think we just hit, if I'm not mistaken, I want to double check it, but we just hit 650 subscribers. So thank you everybody for helping us reach that. Pretty awesome. But that is it for tonight. Again, thank you for the Scoopster Kimmy for helping me tonight, being my guest tonight here, so I wouldn't have to do this alone, and so I can give Ed the night off. But Ed will be here next week. We missed his haterade for tonight, but his haterade will come back next week. So nothing new there. But again, thank you, Kimmy, for being here with me tonight. Super fun to talk about NXT with you. But you'll see me next week again with Ed. So we'll see you guys.
I am in misery.